All right. So we get to the final speaker, which happens to be me. So give you a bit of background. I'm actually a university instructor. I taught chemistry for 20 years. I've made things that I'm allowed to do that you're not. And I've actually had to look up the Explosives Act to figure out if what I was doing was legal or not. So no one in here is going to rat me out, but the answer is yes, I was it was actually legal. My scholarly interests are in teaching and learning, and I got involved with CASP because I was taking training in a gym that was frequented by police officers who needed assistance improving their training courses for their trainings that they had, as the Alberta government was increasing the standards for security guard training. My current role is as CASP training director and effectively the executive director as well. My role is to work with subject matter experts, that would be security professionals, law enforcement trainers, and the like, to create interesting, engaging, and effective courses. And what I want to do at this point in time is really just to look at what CASP has done over the past year and a bit, and how this is going to help benefit and professionalize the security industry. So what we have here is CASP's mandate is to professionalize the security industry through training and advocacy. CASP is an association formed in late 2024 as a result of actually surveys being conducted in Alberta, and then those surveys were conducted again nationally. We started offering courses in mid-2025, and throughout 2025, we've been creating and writing articles to advocate for the professionalization of the security industry. Oh, sorry, I need to go over here. There we go. So I first want to talk about training. With regards to training, as I kind of alluded to and other people have talked about on here, police, law enforcement, sheriffs, peace officers, the training of all of those organizations has seen a resurgence in about the last 15 years, where there's a much greater emphasis and emphasis on quality training to prevent their officers from getting involved in situations. The advent of body cameras is probably a good starting point for why they want the officers to be acting more appropriately and professionally. And this is yet to happen for security. And that's why CASP is here, is because the security industry, in our surveys and in an Ontario survey that just happened just recently, their industry is begging for additional training so that their security professionals, their security guards, can be better and more effective and safer in their duties that they are engaged in. So the CASP training website is there, training.casp.ca. Anyone can go on there, anyone can create an account. There is no cost to creating an account on that website, and that gives you access to a few courses. We have divided the courses up into the categories as presented there: basic security training, post-specific courses, in-service courses, intermediate courses, advanced courses, and private investigation. We are actively in the process of developing courses. One of the things and one of the articles that we came up with was a national basic security training framework, a standard for what all security guards should know starting the job. And this is similar to what was proposed for Alberta as part of the project we were working on there, but we have been advocating this across the country and are basically are making this, trying to encourage jurisdictions to adopt this as the national standard. Oh, I do want to back up just a second because, of course, I'm not completely whatever. I want to point out that my role here is to identify subject matter experts. So as a training director, I don't know anything or very little about security. I have done a few shifts. I do have a security license, but I work with subject matter experts. I find people like Bruce and Scott and the like and David, and they provide the subject material, and I take that as an educational expert, and I end up creating interactive, engaging online courses. There are several free courses on the training website, and I'll talk about one in just a few seconds. These are some of the post-specific courses. So similar to what Glenn had presented in terms of his competency model, we independently came up with something very, very similar. And we currently offer 4 to 6 hour courses that are post-specific to access control and concierge services, healthcare security, loss prevention, went too far, mobile patrol and response, and uniform patrol and surveillance. We are still needing post-specific courses to be developed. So if you go onto the training.casp.ca website, what you will find somewhere partway down there is a list of outstanding courses. And if you have expertise in one of those topics or more than one, please contact me and we can get together to start developing those courses for the benefit of everyone. Another aspect was in-service training. So in-service training is more the soft skills or the general skills that are needed for any post or any role. And we have training in drone pilot training, ethical conduct, human physiology and psychology, professionalism in the security industry, self-defense, and situational awareness. That self-defense course is a little bit interesting. It's actually not designed for security guards. Security guards are encouraged to take it, of course, but CASP made that course available as something that security guards can offer their clients as a freebie. We're offering that course for free to anyone who wants to take it. It is a hybrid course. That is, there's an online component, and then the security company themselves would do the in-person component, and thereby building rapport with their clients. And so anyone here can go on there, sign themselves up, and take the online component. It's about 3 hours to complete. Other courses that are in service are tactical communication, and there's a trauma-informed care course as well. So we don't have any of the intermediate or advanced courses completed as of yet. We're looking for people to develop courses to teach people how to be effective security supervisors, to do field training. Field training is a critical component of law enforcement, of pretty much any profession, where you are mentored by someone for a couple of days to a couple of weeks. But how do you be an effective field training officer? We would love someone to develop that course. And then management and debriefing of security. We have some of those courses in development as it is, and they'll be coming online over time. The private investigator courses, and I know Honorable Buzinski talked about a lot about investigations and interviewing and the like. Those courses would fit in perfectly well there. Interviewing for security, interviewing for private investigators. We want to start building up a private investigator repertoire because the surveys showed that the existing private investigator training in any province that offers private investigator training is ineffective, to put it mildly. All of CASP's courses are online courses, just the nature of how we can offer them. And our goal is to offer effective online training. But as Scott pointed out, not everything can be taught online effectively. As a matter of fact, physical control tactics obviously cannot be taught in an online modality, but we even argue that verbal control tactics is at the limit of what can be marginally well done in an online modality. Me yelling at you through the camera is more funny than it is, causing SNS activation in your body. So CASP offers trainers out there the opportunity to post their courses. You can even post your online courses if you offer online training as well, but physical control tactics, verbal control tactics, handcuffing, whatever it happens to be, we have a directory where for trainers to post their training. We have a directory for employers to post jobs as well as their company to say, hey, here we are, and we kind of adhere to the philosophy of the Canadian Association of Security Professionals. That was training. Now let's talk about advocacy. CASP is managed by a board, development and advisory board. That board is member controlled. And so all what it required to be a member of the board is that you need to be a security professional somewhere in Canada. And the goal is to have this board diverse by demographic, by specialization, by geography, and by experience. So we want senior, junior, and across Canada representation on this board. The board has 3 subcommittees or foci. We already talked about training. We will be talking about advocacy in just a few seconds. And the recruitment I want to talk about right now. The recruitment I want to start now or the last couple of months. This conference was a way of raising awareness and making of CASP and what we stand for and what we're doing. We have courses. We're getting more courses. We want you, if it's all possible, to promote CASP to your colleagues, to your employers, to your clients, and if you have the opportunity, to government. The point here is that the more people we have in our association, the greater the information that flows to the board and to myself so that we can make effective courses and be a bigger voice for the industry to government. Scott mentioned that the province of Ontario was holding consultations 2 weeks ago. CASP was there. CASP submitted a 79 or 81 page document to their response to their questions. So that was a while. But the point is that we've been pushing for the professionalization with all of the provinces across Canada, because I would argue that the provinces are realizing that security is lagging behind. Every province in Canada that offers security training is reviewing and revising their programs. BC is done. Alberta has the revised program. They haven't released it yet. And Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and I'm not sure about Quebec, they're all revising their programs in some stages of the review and revision process. All right. So what has CASP done? So some of the papers, publications that CASP have put out are presented over the next few slides. I'm not going to read this paper to you. I'm just going to say, hey, this is a paper that we've published. It is available on the CASP website. It has been posted to LinkedIn and Facebook. And so the first one happens to be a solution to the enforcement vacuum. This kind of touches on what David talked about earlier, in the idea that police have to, focus their limited resources on serious crimes, which has left a vacuum in the minor crime area. And security guards are being hired to walk beats, to issue bylaw, traffic, trespass people, and that type of idea. And the problem that is arising is that they're not trained to do so. But we're offering a solution to the enforcement vacuum. One of the early things that we did is, just a second here, excuse me, is start consulting with all of the provinces, and we asked about the licensing of security guards. We wanted to figure out how many security guards there were in Canada. This was a lot harder than I expected, I will be honest. The data I got from the provinces was limited, was missing, and in 2 cases was internally not self-consistent, i.e. the data didn't make sense just from itself. Anyways, we got some data, and with a lot of statistical analysis, estimated that sometime in 2024, there was 300,000 licensed security guards in Canada. How often they worked is up in the air, but that's the number of active security licenses, and it was growing at a rate of about 10 to 15% per year. The rest of the paper is available if anyone wants to read it. But yeah, it's one of the articles that we've now published. To talk about this idea of tiered security guards, absolutely. Standardizing the rank and pay of security professionals. So this article looks at pay scales and possibly ways in which we can recognize security guards for the amount of time that they have put into the security industry. But that recognition, i.e. advancing up the ladder, was based on additional training. So the idea of moving to level 2 or level 3 meant that you engaged in continuing education, keeping yourself current and modern with all of the aspects of security. Then there was the idea of the diversity of security roles by Sean. He ended up writing out all of the different areas that security guards have been active and involved in, and what are their main roles and responsibilities. And one of the articles that we are currently working on is looking at on-duty injuries of security professionals. We realized early on in the association that there has been an increase in the number of security guard deaths. And what we found, because these are generally published in the newspapers, is that between 2000 and 2019, there was one security guard killed while on duty as a security professional. So 1 in 20 years. But between 2020 and 2025, during that 6-year period, 7 security guards were killed on duty doing their jobs. This is a 2,300% increase in the rate of security guard deaths. That begs the question, what about injuries? Injuries are very often not reported, so we ended up going to the Workers' Compensation Board, or whatever they're known across the provinces, and asking them to provide us with data on injuries of security guards, police, and the general public, so that we can get an idea of how many injuries relative to the other different professions there are of security guards. We're slowly collecting data and should have this report done by sometime in the summer. Preliminary data, by the way, suggests that for every 1 average worker that's injured, between 4 and 6 security guards are injured and 10 police officers are injured. So security guards are injured much more frequently than the average worker, and about half the the rate as police officers are. So that's the preliminary results thus far. All right. This next set of papers is stuff that I've actually did and brought into this because of my work as a trainer. I spent a lot of time working for the Center for Teaching and Learning. And so I make this document available to anybody. It's best practices in course development, and best practices in teaching is a part of this as well. So if anyone is out there and is looking to develop courses, whether it's for CASP or for your own companies, I have no problem saying, hey, use this as a guide, because as I alluded to earlier in this conference, anyone can develop a course or anyone can teach badly. It takes time, energy, and effort to create quality instructional material and to be an effective instructor. Article on effective learning strategies, something that can be provided to the learners. Many of the people who are coming into your courses, if they're coming directly out of high school, great. They still have their mind in a learning mode. But a lot of people are coming in after working another career, coming from another country, or not really being that good in high school, and so not really having the best learning strategies. And so this is literally a 1-page document on how best to learn during the term, and another page on how best to take tests and the like. I mentioned earlier that during our consultations, we started drafting national basic security training standards. That has been finalized, and it is based on what was created for the province of Alberta. That is eventually coming out in terms of a new ABST program. But this is also published and being recommended to all of the provinces to adopt nationally. And quite honestly, whenever there is, for example, a video of a security guard beating up someone with brass knuckles in a Dollarama, that's very specific, but you get the idea. Or a security guard getting assaulted and injured. We are talking to the provinces, talking to the bodies involved, and saying, hey, we have training, and here's a starting point that might improve the quality of the security guard and make it safer for everybody. One of the things that we've talked about, alluded to in this conference, is the idea of accreditation and coming up with a standard for everybody to follow, right? If you think about WHMIS for hazardous materials, or in construction sites, a concerted effort was put into creating nationwide training levels and standards, such that if you took H2S Alive in Alberta, it was the same course in Ontario and the like. Well, no one's doing it for the security industry yet. We want to do it. We want to work with all of the training partners out there to come up with accreditation standards, and so that courses and instructors can be at a level that they are going to be effective and beneficial for the security professionals taking those courses. And that leads us to professionalizing the security industry, and just an article on that. As I mentioned, we've circulated a lot of these documents to various government organizations. And we're open to publishing things that you've got. If you have articles or things that you're passionate about, written about, we would love to, you can do whatever you want with it, but if you want to put it under the CASP banner and have us circulate it on through our platforms and on our website, we're more than welcome in wanting to talk with you about that. Let us publish it, let us work together to ultimately professionalize the security industry. And that's it for my presentation. And I appreciate everyone here. I'll open the floor to questions.